Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Corrine's Crafts. I hope you're all well today. I'm really good and I want to show you another quick make we're going to make. So look at this. That's not heat embossing. It looks like I've stamped with white ink on a stamp, doesn't it? Isn't that gorgeous? No, it's a stencil and we've double stencils. So I have used stencils on top of my stencil to create this bubbly background. We're keeping it lovely and simple. I've done the next one, can you see on here, and raised it up. We've done a lovely little bit of stamping on here, little hint of glitter and some gems. But how about that? Anything that you want to know how to get will be on the link in the description below. So I'll link to everything that I can. But I'd love to know what this inspires you to make. This card that I'm going to make is a little bit different for me, and I'm using a Sweet Poppy Designs stencil. Now these are metal stencils. I don't know if you've come across these very often. These are something that I bought myself. I picked them up when I went to the NEC craft fair, obviously at the NEC, back in March, and I love these. I'm hoping to pick up some more. I've got a few other ones that I'm going to be playing around with, but I thought I'd show you this one first. So this is Sweet Poppy Designs, and this one, it doesn't say what it's called. Those are echinaceas, aren't they? So I thought I'd start with that. So I've got a piece of card, and this is 5 3/4 inches square. So it's a little bit bigger than my stencil, and I'm going to put my stencil on there. Now I don't put adhesive on the back of this because I'm going to be doing what I call dry stenciling. Now I've cut myself some masking tape. So this is just my masking tape. It's like a washi tape masking tape. It's really thin. It's stuck on my dress at the moment. I've got the pieces all stuck to my dress because I wanted to take off a little bit of the stick, and I'm actually mostly adhering it to there. I'm not really even attaching it to the card. I don't want it to take off the card at the end. So I'm just going over there. But what I'm actually doing by doing this, as you can see, is I'm covering up this bit of the white card. So yes, I'm keeping the stencil in place, but for me, the most important bit is I'm protecting the white space around. Now, if you find it easier, you could get a piece of craft card or something and stick that onto there. So what I thought I'd do is I'd do something a little bit different, and I'd have a go with some of my Duet ink pads. So probably the nearest one that you would get outside of Crafter's Companion to your Duet ink pads is your Tim Holt Distress Oxides. So they work in a very similar way. Now, I don't know how many of these colours I'm going to use. Might use them all, might not use any of them. Let's just move them over. Hopefully you can still see them like that, but I need to put that back in the middle. So there we go. Right, so I have got myself some blending brushes. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, roughly the same colour. These are my Time for Tea blending brushes. And then the other thing I've done is I've made myself a couple of masks and a couple of stencils. So I'm going to try and use these. This is a different way to blend. So what I want to do is pop one on there and then stencil through it. So we're going to start with pink. So we're going to pop it on there. I always sort of go straight onto my mat first, and then I'm going to blend it on to here next. So I'm going to pick up plenty of ink, just take it on here. So now, you know, normally when I'm laying down colour, I'll lay down the colour and then I'll go back in. With this, chances are you really need to sort of get as much colour down as you want to begin with. So it's best to get the colour all done first. So now this is watercolour card, and I'll show you why. I'm going to apply a little bit of water in a minute. So let's get that on there. What I also might do while I'm on, now I haven't put any glue behind there because this is just to hold it roughly in place. I've got blue. Why am I not using the blue? So I'm going to use the blue, and I'm just going to make sure I've not got much on. I'm just going to bring a little bit of blue around the edge. Can you just see? So I'm making a nice sort of purple colour. Now I know I probably got a purple in this, but I wanted it quite subtle. So it just sort of, you see, you almost can't see where the pink ends and the purple starts. So when I take that off, I've got a lovely curved effect. So let's just turn it round and we'll take another colour. Let's come up here. Now, I think I might grab a smaller circle. So let's go on here and let's go in with our yellow. So get my yellow blending brush. I'm just going to make sure my blending brush is clean because the chances are it's not. So I'm going to pick up some yellow, put it on the mat. Just make sure I'm going with yellow. Yeah, and then I can pop that onto here next. We will sort of over ink in a minute, but I just wanted to get some nice shapes, some more. We don't normally do this. Normally when we do multiple colours, I don't know about you, but I sort of tend to do sort of blend them one into each other. So I've got my yellow like that. I really should have put this on another piece of paper, shouldn't I? And then I'm going to go in with my blue. I'm going to come in with my blue just here. Now you can have them overlap. Should we overlap a little bit just there? A bit like a Venn diagram, isn't it, where they overlap? Let's come off here like this. There we go. So these, like I say, these are metal stencils. They really, really last ever so good. I am loving these, and you can just use them in exactly the same way as you would be using your polymer, not polymer, like don't, the word's gone, you know, your plastic stencils. Yeah, lost that word then. So we've now got that one on. Let's just come in. I'm going to come in here. So I'm going to cut across there. I'm going to do pink on that one, just across there, and it's going to sort of come, it's coming over the yellow and it's over the blue. There we go, just like that. Then I might do, if I've got a green, let's do a bit of green. I might do a little bit of green. Yeah, do a little bit of green in the middle, freehand. And we'll go over the edge of some of those other colours. So you can still see the circle coming through, but it softens the edges. I don't know if this has got a name, this technique, or whether I'm totally making it up, but I had to play around and it worked. Right, I'm just going to clean this brush. I really need to get some more of these time for tea brushes, don't I? Because I'm going to go in with orange, and this one had pink on. Let's come in with the orange. And then I might just overblend just here. There we go. If you wanted to, you could. I could come in. No, it's too big. Let's do that. Come on then. It does give a different effect, doesn't it? It's lovely. You can see that one's there. Now I can just bring that one out there. Let's have a little bit more green now, we can see. And I'm actually going to use my green to fill in all of these gaps. Hopefully you can see all that. Just these little gaps just here. Let's do that one. I don't want any colours not to be merged one into the other, so it's always worth, even though I've got used the stencil, just going over them, just making sure that you can still see the circles underneath, but we've blended it as well. I just need to clean that because I need to go in with pink, and I can just go around there. I think that'll do. That looks lovely. Let's just put the lids on because I know how clumsy I am. I can push those. Now I did keep these masked because you can also do the other effects. You can mask off an area and go around, but I haven't had to do that this time. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to spritz a little bit of water. And I did one and I put a little bit too much water on. So let's just spritz a tiny bit on there. So before I even take the stencil off, I'm just going to let that water work. Because remember, the longer you leave it, the more it's going to bleach out the colour. And we're only doing this to create a different effect. So I can see it starting to bleach. So I'm just going to get my dirty cloth. You can do a kitchen towel, a dried baby wipe. It's entirely up to you, paper towel, whatever you want. And can you see I've created that? I just wanted that tiny little bit of speckle. Now I'm going to do this very carefully. I always peel like down and at an angle. Now that tape can be used again, so you can store that at an angle like that, and you're less likely, I could end up catching the paper, who knows, but you're less likely to do that if you do it this way. So just, you see, nice, just sort of roll in action. There we go. And then it did help that I stuck it to my dress. Now this one feels like, oh, it's catching up that end. So let's go from this end. And again, do it at an angle. It's not the end of the world if it does catch a little bit. It's caught a tiny bit there, but I don't think you're going to see that much. Take ones, stuck to my hands. Oh. And then we can then lift this off and look at that. It's like a reverse, they're like almost like reverse stencils, aren't they? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I love that. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my, before I do anything else, I'm going to bring in my stamping platform. I don't know what sentiment I'm going to use yet. This really is winging it. I've got just a set that I think will work. I've got happy birthday. I've got congratulations. I'm going to do birthday because the majority of the cards we make are birthday. I know congratulations will work. Now, I don't want to go over that one, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm just going to, you see, I don't think it works, but I think it definitely wants to be down at the bottom. Now, would my congratulations fit? But no, I'm going to stick with my happy birthday. I just don't want to go over that one, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's pop that down there. So I'm going into my white space, but I'm also stamping on my stamp. If you've used a lot of water, you'd have to dry it, but that's pretty dry already. That is not straight, Corrine. Not straight at all. Does that look a bit straighter? I think it does. Pick it up. I'm going to go in because that's dry enough. I think I'm safe to go in with my quick dry, because if it was still, there was a chance it could be wet, I'd have to go in with my waterproof ink pad. I think it's okay. I've got a new waterproof ink pad. I've got some Ranger archival ink pad. I want to do some waterproof stamping, so that or watercolor stamping, so that I can have a go with my new ink pad. And then we can pop on like this, and then stamp again. Always using my stamping pressure tool definitely helps me get a better effect. Look at that. I'm going to do my third stamp. You know me, I like to do three. I didn't put the stamp pad away. Let's do my third one just to be on the safe side, and then we can come in like that. Oh, that was worth doing. That's come out lovely and black, hasn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so once we've done that, what I'm then going to do, put that to one side, and that can finish making sure it's properly dry, is I've got a scrap piece of paper. This was literally off my scrap box, and I'm going to get my stencil, that's the word it is, and I'm just going to get one colour, well, possibly two colours. So I'm going to get the where's all my ink's gone? I'm going to get the pink and the blue. So let's start it this way round. Why am I using the purple one? I'm going to use those. So I'm going to get the pink, and I'm going to colour that first. So I'm just going to go round this one here, in no particular order. Oh, that was a bit heavy-handed there, Corrine, but we can make that work. Blend it in. I had my finger on the blending brush, didn't I? So I'm going beyond the stencil, and you'll see why in a minute. Just beyond the stencil like that. Then I'm going to get the blue, and I'm going to come round. Now that's a little bit blue for what I wanted at the moment, but that's okay. It's just laying down that first colour. I'm going to come back in with the pink, and I'm going to go over that until I've got a nice purple colour. I think I've gone a bit heavy with the, oh, it's coming on this side. Just holding it still with my hand. Blend that through. Okay, yeah, that's more purple now. Okay, and then put my lids on. I'm going to just slide it down and look at that. Doesn't that look lovely? Now what I want you to do is to cut that out. So all you want to do is just cut, I'm not going to, just cut on the edge of the white line. Let's bring that here. So just cut that on the edge of the white line. I want the white line to be showing. So it almost looks like you have done a white stamped image. So just go round there, just like that, and that will then cut out just like that. So can you see I'm getting that white edge? And when you've done that, this is what you get. Can you see? Doesn't that look lovely? So it looks like I've got a white stamp, and that is going to go onto here. So I've just got that raised little bit of interest. I'll stick that on in a minute. Let's build up the card first. Let's move some of these bits out of the way, and then we can build up the card, and you can see. So because of that, I've picked some nice sort of purpley pearlescent card. And what you'll see I've done as well is I cut the centre out of that piece of card, and then I trimmed it to the size I wanted. Just a minute, I've got ink on my mat, I don't want to get it on the card. So this is just some embossed card. So if you haven't got anything like this, if you've got some linen card, if you haven't, then have a go at just embossing a piece of card. Sometimes though we don't have the big enough embossing folders, because you obviously need a larger embossing folder. So that's why there's always a place for textured card in my crafty stash, because I just think it's brilliant to use. So I know I'm not putting anything on, but I just want to make sure it's my tent fold and put that on. Again, I've got about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around the outside. Now that isn't very straight, is it? Is that a bit straighter? I think that is. There we go. And as you've seen me do before, you can go over with your stamping pressure tool just to smooth out all that glue underneath. So the next bit I want to do is I'm going to stick this onto here. So you can see now, because of that water, that was why I used the watercolour card. It just works, I think. Let's just pop that on here. Now you've noticed on a lot of my cards I use sort of little black gems, but today we're going to do it slightly different. So black gems would look nice because we've got the black font, but we're not going to actually use black gems. So again, I've got 1/4 of an inch, no I haven't, I've got 1/8 of an inch border around there, but I've got a nice, probably a good inch difference on there, just so that we've got that point of difference. And then I've just put my 2mm foam tape roll on here. So I will link to all the things I need to, like my pokey tool, like my pressure tool, and to this 2-inch foam tape, so that you can click on those links, because it really does help me if you do that. I do appreciate that. So I can pop that on to there. Now is that straight? That's not straight. Look at the dots. I've not gone straight on the dots. It's great having the dots, but it doesn't show up if you don't go straight. There we go. There we are. That looks much straighter. If you struggle to do that, then you can always put a little bit of glue on your foam tape. So you can see it's only got the smallest lip, but I just think it works. So then I've got this one, and I have just put my Sticks to foam pads on the back. Come on, come off. There we go. Just to raise it a bit. If you wanted to, you could use your Collal 3D glue or your Pinflair 3D glue, whichever one you use. Yep, they all are brilliant for doing that. We can take that off there. And that is then just going to go over the top of there. Make sure it lines up perfectly. And again, if you need to, just put wet glue on the back. How about that? Now that's looking absolutely gorgeous, but the last thing we're going to do just before we finish is I've got some, these are Cadence ones. These are your liquid pearls, and this one is just, can you see, it's just a lovely pearlescent one. I just want to give it a quick shake and a bash, just make sure it's mixed. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a few little bits. We can put little bits on just here, just a few little ones, and then I can almost come around here. You'll see what we're going to do in a minute. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just adding on a few little, because otherwise, well, it's up to you. You might like that clean and simple look. As you've probably seen, I'm not very good at clean and simple. I always set out with good intentions, but they never quite come off, do they? So we can just a little few there. Let's put a couple on that flower head, a couple on that flower head. Let's just highlight a couple of try and keep it as random as you can across there. Just do a nice random one there. Right, so while that's nice and wet, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a very fine glitter, and I'm just going to put, I'm not going to cover them in glitter. I'm just going to put a little bit of glitter on, and hopefully they're wet enough just to grab a tiny bit of the glue. Oh, I've just caught that. That wasn't right, was it? Let me just tap that off. I just need to go in again. Where have I put my pearl drops? I just dropped the lid on that. There you go. Just to show you, it happens to us all. Luckily, they didn't smudge. They just took the tops off. So I can go back in and nobody, don't tell anybody, will you? Nobody will know. There we go. There was me trying to be careful so that I didn't spill glitter, and I dropped the lid. There we are. So all I would do then is I'm just going to shake that over the bin. Blow all the excess glitter off. And how about that? It's something really a little bit different, but I loved that Sweet Poppy stencil. Isn't that gorgeous? And doing the stenciling using another stencil. So we're like double stenciling, aren't we? Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And let's see what you can make.